good morning in the morning, followers of Sister Lady Adventures. It is a hot and humid morning here in Minnesota. I am out and about once again with my dear friend Anna, and we are at the Mississippi River. We were here about a month ago, and we probably haven't had a stitch of rain since then, maybe like a tenth of an inch of rain we've had since then. And so this bottom layer, this whole bottom, the riverbed of the Mississippi River is exposed now, totally exposed. We're standing on an island. We literally crossed, here I'm going to show you this. So we crossed over, which normally you can see kind of maybe where the water would be, where all that green shrubbery is growing. This is normally all underwater, but not this year. Oh my word. The heat and the drought, and it's exposing new parts of the gravel that haven't been exposed for a long time. And so what we're hoping for today and looking for today are some newly exposed artifacts. Anna was here yesterday and she found some buffalo teeth, Tatanka. Fossils of buffalo teeth that are, there was one set from the Ice Age and then one that was more recent and newer. You can see the bridge there. There's East Bridge Park and West Bridge Park, because west side of the bridge or east side of the bridge. So when Anna sent me the messenger yesterday to tell me about her exciting find, she also shared that she had the day off today, so she invited me to join her. So if anyone is wondering what ancient gravel under the Mississippi River looks like that hasn't been exposed, you know how it is with water and currents. Things are always being churned up, and yes, it's very humid out here. Churned up and changing. So I could literally be looking at some stones that haven't been turned up for thousands of years. And because this is Minnesota and the glaciers scraped over the whole entire state, we could be looking at Ice Age material, folks. And as an educator who spends a fair amount of time in a high school setting during the school year, I just can't resist this opportunity to insert some extra information. So just look at how much of the state of Minnesota was actually covered by glacier during the various time periods going all the way back to the Ice Age. There were 4 different glacial sheets that moved over the state, and everything except the southwest corner of Minnesota. I'm going to see what we can see and what we can find. When a person is looking for treasures in this type of gravel, everything is going to look and appear about the same color. And so what a person has to do is really look for shapes that are different. Somebody would probably say, oh, that could be a tool. It would be very exciting to have a live find. Does a duck egg count? What I'm going to do is maybe get my sifter. Oh, there's an egg. Is that a duck egg or a goose egg? Or I wonder what. Huh. So here's a close-up of some of the gravel. I like the inside of that and how smooth that is. Caught my eye for a second because I thought maybe ancient pottery, just because it's so smooth. I've picked up some random stones. Again, I need to take these to my friend across the street from me, who was a geology professor at Winona State University, just because these are ones that catch my eye, where I think, well, maybe they had a purpose back in the day. They look worn in a certain way, but did I mention that my friend Anna found bison teeth here yesterday? It takes time, and so I'm just going to be flipping this freshly exposed gravel over to see if there's anything there. Either fossils. And another educational moment about glacial till, which is the pebbles. I just want to make sure that I show the public domain statement that the University of Minnesota has issued, stating that their geological survey is indeed public domain, and this is a part of it. But these images show the different types of pebbles and rock that are in the samples, and indicate that the reason why different pebbles and different rocks and different till, they call it, looks the way it does is because it depends on which direction the glacier was moving and which glacial bed scraped through. Then that would indicate the type of rock. Here you can see on off in the horizon under the bridge looking for things, but the breeze, there's a little bit of a breeze, thank goodness. As you look around at all of the natural beauty of the area, you can almost imagine exactly what it would have been like when the indigenous people were the only ones who walked here. In some ways things change, but in others things stay the same. Sometimes root balls are good places to look for things because as the current goes by, the water goes by, things can get caught up in there. So I might dig around in there a little and see what might be there. And then otherwise later, on that side, going down the other direction, there is a dump, a little bit of a dump where people used to throw their trash years ago. So we could scratch the ground for that a little too. Okay friends, well, I'm still out here sifting, but the nice thing about this, I don't have to use a big sifter to sift. I really am just sifting by way of and turning rock over and scratching around, because everything's just exposed. So if this was underwater a little bit, I'd have to use my trowel to put it in a sifter and shake it out. But because the water's down so low, we haven't had any rain, it's just sitting out. The coolest thing I found so far, check this out. I believe it's just like an agate rock, maybe, but it also has a feel of something petrified. And look at those lines in it. And then also, see how straight that edge is? Almost prism. But I'm definitely going to take this with me. Then I've got something here that's got, it looks spongy with the holes, but it's heavy. So I don't know if that's something that's starting to fossilize there. So that's going to come home with me. Just a rock that looked different than everything else around it. And the veins are pretty. I like the lines, the veins in that. A little bit of quartz, I believe. No. This just has a unique shape. This to me looks like maybe it could have been carved like an effigy, starting to look like a bird, but you know, maybe not. And I'm going to keep looking. Oh look, there's another little piece of that fossilized type of rock that's heavy. Or look at those clean lines. So that's coming home. But also this, I thought it was like a screwdriver handle. But it's not a screwdriver handle. And it definitely is a rock. I don't know what would make that type of shape, but it feels fossil, it feels petrified. I'm going to bring that home. So I definitely am finding some cool things here. So this is what I think happens the longer a person stays out here. All of a sudden, they begin imagining that everything could potentially be something. Okay, check this out. Looks like a rock at first, right? There's that little notch there, but that looks like a knuckle used to go there. And then it looks like a tooth that's been fossilized, right? Maybe. And then there's like this weird split in it right there where it opens up. But it feels like a rock. What is it? Is it a tooth? Okay, it's coming home with me. Looks like an agate maybe. Check that out. Isn't that kind of pretty? Kind of cool? Something about it that just seems different than the rest of the rocks. So what do you see in the frame here? Is there things I've missed? Is that some kind of church that could make a good arrowhead? Or I would love to find a live find for you. A lot of this, I call it milky agate. I don't know if that's what it is, if that's the proper name. There seems to be a lot of it here. In this particular area, when I showed you the gravel earlier, notice how it was like all gray, gray, gray. And this has some more color to it. This is a different type of layer. So due to the age, it's different. Or like mentioned earlier in the geological survey, maybe this is an area where a different glacial sheet scraped through, bringing with it different items
that I remember
when
studying
it passed
in
by.
Mrs. Somrock's 8th grade geology.
And I'm friends with her on Facebook, my 8th grade science teacher, so I'll take that and ask her. Again, see what I mean? Everything starts looking like something. See the lines there? Okay, friends and family, I am so excited to be able to edit this video for you tonight. I'm looking forward to it so much. So 3 hours have passed since I first arrived down here at the basin of the Mississippi River. I broke my fast. I do intermittent fasting. That's a subject for a whole different video, but if you want to know about it, I'm happy to tell you about it. It's something that's changed my life tremendously. I don't start eating until noon each day, and then I stop eating at 8 p.m. And if you are, especially if you are a female, past the age of 40 and you've noticed that your metabolism has changed, I owe this to Dr. Mary Claire Haver from Galveston, Texas, but it's changed my life. So I brought some gluten-free bars out here with me and some pomegranate juice and blueberry juice and water, and that's what I had for lunch. You know, you definitely wouldn't be walking across. And today I'm just walking across and I think these might be zebra mussels, so if those are all dead, actually that's a good thing because those are all invasive species. There should not be zebra mussels in Minnesota. I don't even think they should be anywhere in the United States. So anyway, there's a little
What
pool
zebra
of water
mussels
here.
will do is they will attach themselves
You know how they say
onto
after
the
it rains, it's
native
easier to find
mussels
things because
and
the rain,
incapacitate them,
exposes
and
stuff
then
washes it
the
away,
zebra
but
mussels
since I
take
haven't had
over
my
the
thing, what I
food
thought I'd
source
do is
that the
bring my
native
bucket down
mussels
here.
need, and
You
then
can see my reflection,
also
look at that.
they
Get some water from out
clog
of this little collection
the
point
drainage
here,
systems.
just,
they get into
I'm just going to pour the water on
boat
the ground, as silly as that may sound.
motors,
But what that's going to do
and
is expose,
they
as if there had been rain,
they are
some
indeed
of these stones and rocks underneath. So I gotta
invasive in all 50
continue,
states.
Look like walkie-talkies, except I don't know how long the range is. See those little things swimming in there? Those are little tadpoles. They'll move in a second. There. Did you see them swim? Probably just a Mother Nature thing, but a nice little arc on there. Some bright red stones. That looks like a shard, but it's just a piece of shell. As you can see, it's a shell, not a shard. I like the color on that. I've been finding some things that... All right. Oh, there's some more little tadpoles. tadpoles swimming in there. See that little tadpole? There's some tadpoles. So the clouds started to look a little more dark and a little more ominous. Probably not too bad. Maybe there'll be a little afternoon shower. But she needed to get going to do the airport run, so we decided to call it a day. But we had a really good 4 hours out there, which is good in the heat and humidity anyway. As I'm unpacking my finds from this trip, I was able to have a conversation with my neighbor across the street. I mentioned her earlier. She is the retired geology professor from Winona State University, and she agreed to visit with me. And so my next video will be, I'll do a separate video, but I'm just going to show some of these finds to her and just get her opinion and just see what I can learn from her, because she's a wealth of knowledge and information, and worked in the field for a number of years, and I would love to learn more about rocks. On the next video, when I show them to Nancy to look at, this I liked because of the indent. This one you saw earlier with the holes there. This I didn't show you, but see how it's indented there? And there's etchings. I don't think nature did that. I don't know how old those are. So I want her to give me an opinion on what she thinks of that. And then this. I didn't show you this earlier, but I found this out there. Isn't that cool? It could just be from the swirling water kind of creating an eddy, and maybe there was like a little pebble in there that made that hole from the swirling water. In fact, and by the way, the definition of artifact just means that it was altered by a human and worked in some way. So I don't know that this is worked as an artifact by human touch. It could be just Mother Nature with a little pebble in there that's that swirled around with the water and created that indentation. But either way, I thought this was really neat. I've heard these called hagstones, but I think it's only a hagstone if the hole goes all the way through. This was out there. See those little cuts and indents? That, see, to me, that could be a fossil, but I don't know. This one also had that circle-shaped indented in there. So I wanted to get her opinion on that. I just feel like this could have fit in someone's hand. You know, it could have been some sort of tool. Although this particular mudlarking trip didn't yield some of the results that we were hoping for with our finds, I wanted to have some things to show you in closing. So I'm going to show you what types of things we were looking for. And these artifacts did indeed come from the Mississippi River. So back in the day, that is the location where the Lakota tribe and the Anishinaabe, also known as Ojibwe, English is Chippewa, but they are known as the Anishinaabe or the Ojibwe, where those two tribes converged in that area. And after a rainstorm, of the surface will erode so that certain things are exposed, and you just never know. These are some findings that I personally cannot take credit for. They were a gift from my uncle. My uncle lives in northern Minnesota, near the Leech Lake reservation. I also have a couple of artifacts that, well, I'm just going to show you. So here are two examples of modern day artifacts. These were created by an indigenous individual from the Leech Lake Reservation near Cass Lake, Minnesota, northern Minnesota, where I grew up. And my uncle gifted these to me. They were made by a friend of his whose last name is actually Stone. And when he was studying the history of his last name, he knew and learned that others in his family had known this skill and trade. And so he learned it now and does this today. And then these are the gifts from my uncle. So this is what we were looking for, my friends, and this is similar to what Anna had found the day before. The root is down at the bottom, and this portion up on top, that's where the chewing took place. And there's a chart. I don't know if I'm able to show you because of the copyright, but if you wanted to Google, you can look up. There is a way to look at the wear pattern of this part of the tooth to be able to tell how old this particular bison was when it passed away. And my friends, it's hard for me to even describe the feeling that comes over me as I pick up and hold each of these archaic bison teeth each time that I do. Just to know that this is a piece of living ancient history, and to wonder how long it's been since the animals, the bison that contained these teeth, since they walked the earth. And this is definitely a part of the country where the bison roamed free, and there were many. They nearly became extinct, but now they've begun to bounce back, and so that's a good thing. We're not going to lose them completely from the face of the planet. Wear pattern up above. It's on the bottom, wear pattern where the chewing took place up above. So 6 teeth right there. And then, this is native pottery. And you know, if you're walking, this could just look like a little piece of concrete, and a lot of this is broken. It's hard to find a piece intact, but if you look carefully, the way you can tell for sure, there's often a pattern that's carved into the mud or the clay. Isn't that cool? There's another piece. And again, you might just think, oh, that could just be some river rock that, or something in the river, because when it's darker up above, sometimes, this is the part that was buried, and where the water goes, it's a different color sometimes, or the other way around. But then when you flip it over, you'll see there's a pattern. And I've tried, none of these pieces go together, even though some of them look like they're very, very similar. There's not a single piece here that is part of another piece. They're all separate parts and pieces. Aren't these spectacular? So again, found right here in Minnesota near the convergence of the Mississippi and Minnesota rivers. My uncle got these, it's been a few years back now, and I'm hearing that, it's more rare to find items. There's been a lot of excavating, and a lot of people have been looking, and so it's not as easy to find something nowadays. Now, I think oftentimes, how many times do you see a rock that looks like that, right? That's the surprise I wanted to end the video with, because I knew even though I hadn't found any new artifacts to add to my collection, that at least I had these other items to show you. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and I'd love to have you as a subscriber if you'd like to join the Sister Lady Adventures. Have a great day.